Once again, my name is Kashla Morvidelli, and I'm the OnQ Senior Director of Human Resources. I'm honored to have the opportunity to participate in this year's Contact Center World Best Practices Conference. I want to thank Contact Center World, Mr. Raj, the OnQ executives, and all of my colleagues for supporting me in arriving here today. OnQ is the only U.S. medical billing outsourcing contact center in Panama. Our headquarters are in Santiago de Veraguas, which is located in the center of the country, and our inbound-outbound patient services support focuses on medical payments, insurance updates, and procedural questions. Our center representatives are mostly working remotely across all of our provinces. Our niche is revenue cycle management support through technology and labor solutions, and our passion is building a winning family through service and innovation. OnQ's core values are can-do attitude, value creation, and commitment to quality. I'm so incredibly lucky to head what I call our dream team of 5. Interestingly enough, we started the year with only an HR team of 2, but we were able to find 3 other fantastic team members to really complement us. This investment in our administrative staff has allowed us to focus more on development and improvement of our support to our leadership and allows us to fulfill both the urgent and the less urgent but equally important tasks. Our main responsibilities are administrative organization and management of employee compensation and benefit systems, making sure our company policies are clear and up to date, and maintaining employee records and statistics. But what we enjoy the most is supporting and mediating positive professional relationships amongst our employees, leadership development, and always promoting QFamily culture. The project that I will focus on for the rest of the presentation I call Personalizing Employee Recognition, Motivation through Languages of Appreciation. This came about with the need to address the challenge of maintaining that family feel that we had in the office before the start of the pandemic. It was much easier to promote our Q family culture in person with daily greetings, sharing breaks and meals, celebrating birthdays and work anniversaries together at the end of a day, not to mention our annual pool parties and gala. We noticed our attrition of newer employees was increasing, and a large part of that was determined to be that we were lacking in development of our leadership on how to continue to care for each individual and not just manage numbers of employees now that we were mostly in telework. In researching alternative ways to recognize employees, I came across the 5 love languages by Gary Chapman, which was also adapted to 5 languages of appreciation for the workplace. This was the start of my mission to educate our leadership in the languages of appreciation. My tip number 1 is to realize that recognition and appreciation are really essential tools for engaging our employees. This helps us attract and retain employees if we use appreciation and recognition in the right way. It also motivates everyone to perform at a higher level. It gives us that interest in becoming higher leaders within the company. It incentivizes an increase of productivity and quality. It creates that little healthy competition. And all of those things together, of course, increase our company revenue. And at that point, everyone is happy in the company. My tip number 2 is define what you want to recognize according to your mission and core values. Remember that recognition and appreciation are going to motivate employees towards certain behaviors. So you really want to be promoting the behaviors that your company is all about. OnQ's core values are value creation, can-do attitude, and commitment to quality. So we incentivize the actions that move employees towards those core values. We also really promote our Q family culture, and that involves recognizing professional and personal milestones. Some of those milestones that we recognize on a regular basis within the workplace are work anniversaries, high quality, high production, great customer service, of course, good attendance, returning from vacation. We celebrate this. We celebrate the return of that team member. We're so excited to have them back. Someone joining a new team, new family members are extremely important to us. Innovation, seniority and leadership promotions, improvement, right? You have to start somewhere. So even just that little bit of improvement is also something to be celebrated, as well as those who really already go the extra mile. In personal life, we also celebrate birthdays, new children, marriage, homeownership, graduations, personal hobbies and interests, and other international holidays. It's really important for us to get to know all of our team members and really make sure that everyone feels like they're part of the Q family. My tip number three is really the heart of this whole project. Study and implement the languages of appreciation. There are 5 languages of appreciation: words of affirmation, receiving gifts, quality time, acts of service, and physical touch. Of course, we have to be a little careful with that last one in the workplace, but it is possible to adapt it so that it is appropriate within the workplace structure. However, if in your culture or in your particular office, that's not something that you want to include, that's not a problem either. You can work with the 4 other languages of appreciation. Let's go over what each of these means. Words of affirmation, if that is the primary language of appreciation of one of your team members, that means they just want feedback. They just want to hear that they're doing a good job. That is something that's going to motivate them just as much as, receiving a gift or receiving a pat on the back. They just really want those words. Receiving gifts then, we all know about that one, getting that trophy or getting a little prize or having somebody bring you back a gift, let's say while they were on vacation and they brought you back, a little trinket or something. That those people who enjoy receiving gifts, that's going to be extremely important to them to know that you were thinking about them and that you picked up something for them. Quality time, this is that personal reaction. The people want to know that you are interested in them. They want to have a conversation. They want to just hang out, right? That's the kind of thing where they're going to know that you care about them. In acts of service, this is about giving up some of your valuable time to help them out. In the workplace, we can do this by supporting each other with our projects. You can say, my workload's a little lighter today. What can I do for this amount of time to really help you out? That is going to be so meaningful to somebody whose primary love language is acts of service. And then there is that physical touch. In this case, in the workplace, that can be a strong handshake, that can be a pat on the back. Today, during the pandemic, we do the elbow bumps. If you're virtual, you can do virtual fist bumps. You can use clapping emojis, cheers. It is possible, as I said, to adapt that, and it's also possible to leave that one out. This allows us to really focus on what the receiver prefers and not just push on to each one of our team members what it is that we like. This is showing them that we are really interested as well in what is important to them. For tip number 4, you should also define how you want to demonstrate appreciation and recognition. If you have a budget, fantastic. You have many, many options of how you can appreciate and recognize your employees. But you don't have to have that budget. There's still plenty of non-monetary incentives. Maybe you can give someone a choice of a schedule. Maybe you can allow somebody a day off. Yes, that might cost something, but it's not necessarily cash out of your pocket. There's still things that you can do even if you don't have that budget. It's also important to consider whether or not you want to really give this recognition and appreciation socially or privately. This might depend on your culture. This might depend on, your work culture, or it might depend on the person, the individual that it is that you are appreciating and recognizing. Maybe an introvert doesn't want that social recognition and they just want to be recognized privately. So you do have those options. There's also the option of thinking about attributed versus anonymous. Do you want to give these anonymous suggestion boxes, right? You can adapt that suggestion box into a recognition box. Maybe we want to tell each other, that you're doing a great job, but we don't want to necessarily show who it is that we are that's saying it. Or, of course, there is where so-and-so said this about you. That's always fantastic, especially when it is like a kudos coming from a client. And you don't have to choose one or the other in any of these situations. You can adapt it and change it for each individual employee if that, goes along with the guide of their particular primary language of appreciation. But it's just to show that there are so many options in the way that we demonstrate that appreciation and recognition. So you should really think about, what it is that may work for your particular workplace. For tip number 5, I suggest that you keep a quick reference of preferred languages of appreciation. You should keep lists and tables of your employees and what are their preferences. What are their favorite things? What are their favorite ways of being recognized? Maybe something that did work that really motivated them, or something else that didn't. Keep track of those kind of things. That way that you'll know, how to make sure that you're personalizing their appreciation the next time around. Some people might already just know their languages of appreciation. If I know that I just like to hang out, I don't need to be getting a gift, I don't need to be doing anything else. I just want to be, spending some time with someone. In that case, my language of appreciation may be quality time. Um, for other people, they may not know. In that case, there are lots of quizzes that are available to be taken to determine what are their primary and secondary languages of appreciation. And I really suggest that you invest some time with your team in making sure you determine what those are and then really keeping track of them so that you are able to refer to it in the future when you really want to appreciate someone when it's time and you want to do it right away, then you're going to be able to know already what is going to be the most impactful way of recognizing them. My tip number 6 is to identify and understand your least valued language of appreciation, just as we would understand our most valued language of appreciation. This may not seem obvious at first, like why would it even matter to understand what I am not interested in? But it's important for you to understand where your weak areas are or what are the things that you don't value, because that might be what is most valued by a team member. And in that case, you are going to require that much more effort to implement appreciation and recognition of that employee. You're going to have to study, you're going to have to learn about what it is that's going to motivate that particular team member if it's really the opposite of what's interesting to you. So really your least valued language of appreciation is just as important to understand and know as your most. For my tip number 7, I suggest that you adapt your appreciation and recognition to your hybrid or all virtual workplaces. Do not give up on the things that we used to celebrate pre-pandemic. Yes, of course, there's more challenges. It's not as easy to give that morning greeting as you pass down the hallway, all of your colleagues to get to your desk. It's not as easy to share a meal as you used to in the cafeteria. However, we can still do all of those things virtually if they're important to us. It's not exactly the same, but it's still going to be meaningful. We should still be emphasizing welcoming our new employees in whatever way you would before. If you would decorate their desk, then have a meeting, with special backgrounds. If you are missing those greetings, make sure that you greet your team every single morning and before you leave at the end of the day. That's something that my team definitely does together. Even if otherwise we're all focused on our work throughout the day, we all say good morning to each other. How are you? How was your evening? And we all tell each other, to have a good night whenever we are leaving at the end of the day. So you can still replicate those greetings, and it's important to show each other that we're still thinking about each other even if we're not seeing each other all day long. Also, don't give up on recognizing employee of the week or month or year or whatever it is that you recognize. You can still find the fantastic accomplishments of each of your employees, even if it's not in the office. And you can celebrate all of that on social media, across whatever platforms that you're using. So you shouldn't give up on recognizing your employees for their greatness as well. As well as we should still continue to share all of our personal and professional milestones with some kind of celebration. It doesn't necessarily have to be a kind of party, but it can be if that's what it is that your team likes. You can, plan to do activities outside of your normal workday where everyone gets some food or gets some beverages or gets some cake and you enjoy and you still celebrate and you can have those conversations virtually as you would, and as you would in the office as well. And it's still interesting to share hobbies with each other, maybe even more so. Maybe there's even more opportunity now that we're in a virtual space. You maybe find that there's multiple people that like to play video games, or all of you really enjoy a certain kind of movie. Then you can kind of create little clubs and you can share with each other, outside of your workday. So this might even be something that is emphasized more than it would be if we were in the office. And make sure you still share those kudos. Something that we do at OnQ is that we really share with everybody. So anytime someone gets a kudos, we share that across all of our groups in email so that everybody knows and can still recognize and sort of pat each other on the back, even though it may be through just messages. At least, we're still recognizing all the positive things that we're doing, even if we're not actually seeing each other every day in the office. For my tip number 8, I suggest that you implement personalization of recognition in your everyday communication as well. We, communicate nowadays so much through email, maybe also through phone, but so much through email and chat. And it's really important that we read carefully, we realize all of the details that are being expressed in whatever the original communication is, and that we respond with something that shows that we actually read the email, something that shows that we understood what was being communicated to us. It's really important for that highest impact response with recognition to be specific, to be timely, and to be authentic. An example of this would be, in HR, we get messages all the time that somebody is absent due to an illness. I don't want to just respond back, received, right? I'm not recognizing that that is a person who is ill. I'm not giving any sort of empathy with a response like that. I want to be more specific. I want to say, I'm sorry to hear you're feeling ill. Please take care. Get well soon. We hope you're back with us, soon. The point is to show that you actually care about the information that they're telling you and that you've paid attention to it as well, and that you're not just checking your email, sending received. My tip number 9 should be obvious already, but it's one of those things that we tend to forget. So I want to make sure that I emphasize it as well, that the best way to lead is by example. The best way to develop the behaviors of other leaders that we want to see is to model that behavior ourselves. As I said in the previous slide, in the way that you respond to a communication in email by recognizing what's actually been, communicated to you and responding back, showing that you have heard what's been said. I really try to model that, especially when I have other leadership copied on the messages. And I have seen an incredible improvement on the way that other leaders respond, to their team members now when they receive messages similar to the ones on the last slide. So always, always, always model the behavior that you want your leadership to also demonstrate. For my tip number 10, be positive and practice personalized response and appreciation in and out of the office. These are not tips to just be lived in the workspace. These are really life lessons. If you begin to listen more and practice personalized responses, you understand that everyone has a different language of appreciation. What you're going to do is increase happiness wherever you go. And as an HR professional, happiness is our measure of success. I thank you so much for your time, and I hope you all enjoyed.